Shawna and Jody here with Real Sisters, Real Talk.
We're glad to have you joining us as we talk about growing in our faith with God. Hey, welcome back to Real Sisters, Real Talk. I am Jody, and I'm here with my sister Shawna, and we're excited to be back with you today on this beautiful spring day. I hope wherever you are, it is a beautiful spring day. We're just excited to be here. We've been talking about, Shawna and I have been talking about spiritual friendships and community. And we have shared with you all the reason we're doing this podcast. What started this podcast was about being in relationship with believers and talking about growing in our faith with God and how important community is to that. But Shawna, I wanted to start by asking you a question. Okay, we've grown up in the church. We were born into that. We have a lot of history here. Shawna, when I say, what is Christian community, what are the first things that come to your mind?
Potluck.
Oh, potluck. Yes,
That didn't
for
take long.
sure.
Potluck with punch that has been like seriously diluted so that it can go really, really far.
Yep.
That's the first thing that comes to mind for me. What about you?
Okay, in our community, and I get that this is not true in all communities, in our community, potluck with ham sandwiches with way too much butter on them.
Oh, yeah, that's a Dutch thing. I remember going to Grandma's house and having ham sandwiches, and actually, that's not true. It was cheese on a bun is what it did, because Grandma would get buns from the Dutch bakery, and she would put like a hunk of cheese on there, like a hunk of cheese. But the butter was equally as thick as the cheese on the bun.
You had to bite through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a thing.
Yeah. How about Jell-O salad with fruit in it?
Absolutely. If there's going to be a potluck, you have to have that. Or are you even saved? That's what I want to know. Oh my gosh, Christian community. Yeah, isn't that funny? The first thing that comes to mind is eating together and potluck. Mm-hmm. But I also think small group.
Yes, for sure.
Which means coffee. Yep. The adults have, I'm going back to my childhood, total throwback. Like the adults have coffee and we do the dishes. That's how it was when we had people at our house for small group.
For small group. Yeah, right? Yeah. So it is, I mean, even still, it's usually around food. Like even in the Bible studies we have now, for women, we try to have some food there too, because it's a place to gather. It's a place to have conversation before you even get into the study time of it. But okay, so now like just transitioning, that community is about people.
It is about people. Yeah. It is. And it's super popular right now. Like you might have even been seen, they've got really cute t-shirts and sweatshirts that say, all I need is my Jesus and my mascara, or all I need is Jesus and a coastline, Jesus and a coffee, whatever. Like, yeah, it's popular, but it's not biblical.
Nope, it is not.
Yeah, we need each other.
There's no and.
You already mentioned it, but that's the whole reason why we started this podcast, is because of how spiritual conversations just kind of emerge. It doesn't matter if we start there or not. We could be talking about our kids or whatever this season, whatever's going on in the world. And then it always turns into our relationship with the Lord and what we're learning. And we're spurred on by our conversations, by what God is doing in you and what you're learning. I experience revelation and I come to new awareness. And so, yeah, we need each other. And it might not always be about you, but it is always for you when you come together with other people.
Amen. Honestly, you said the word spur on. It actually triggered a verse from Hebrews 10:24 and 25. It talks about, and let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together. And I don't say that like just to be able to quote a verse at you, like community matters.
Yeah.
And it is meant, so it's not just a matter of getting together with other people. Like, can we get together with people intentionally to spur one another on and to grow in good deeds? Like it's important.
We become more holy because of one another. Have you ever heard this? This is an email, I think, the first time I heard it, but it's basically this prayer. Lord, today is going just swimmingly and everything's going as it should. And, but I'm about to get out of bed and I'm going to need your help, because it's the reality of it is when we encounter other human beings, that's when the ways of Jesus and following Jesus get pressed, right? It's a lot easier when I'm laying in bed and I'm just dealing with me and my Jesus. Life is good. But if I bump into you on my way to go brush my teeth, now I got an issue, you know?
Okay, so like we could really look at community, and we can tell you, and we will tell you all the wonderful things that happen in community. It is a beautiful thing. We are commanded toward community. Like, it is an important part of our growing in our relationship with God. But Shawna, I love that you went there, sister. Like, community is hard because people are broken. And so you might already
including me. I'm not like saying
oh,
everybody else but me is. It's
no,
us.
no.
Yeah.
It is us. We are broken. I am broken. I will not always respond right. I will not, like, for sure, we are each broken. And so when we meet with other people, we meet with broken people. And the truth is, like, if you are already tuning us out because you're like, oh no, I've been hurt by community.
Come on.
I would say there is nobody alive who has not been hurt by community. So you're in good company. Yes. But that doesn't mean that it's not good for us to
I have a
be
story
in
I have to
community.
tell you.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I was heading into church. I was worshiping on my way in. I was ready to be with the Lord and to experience Him. And I was running late. And I remember I had to turn around. I can't remember why I had to turn around, but I was on my way. And then there was something that made me turn around and go back. And maybe that'll come back to me. I don't know. But anyway, it meant that I was late getting to church. And as I walked into the building, a gentleman looked at me and I was like, hi. And as I was like greeting him with a great big smile and a great big hi, he looked at his watch and he looked back at me and he goes, glad you could make it. And it just, I was on my way to, this is so sad. Okay. I was on my way to go sit with my kids, but so that was like before I got into the worship center. And then my son and his fiance is what I mean when I say my kids. So it was on my way to go sit with them. And I just ended up like ducking into a row by myself and sitting there for the morning. So I was like, I just got sour. You know what I mean? I thought so sad to enter the house of God and to be greeted that way. I'm here.
And then you isolated. You pulled from community.
I did.
Right?
Wild?
And I think that's a easy thing to do. Like when we're struggling, when we're wounded, when we're like we isolate. And okay, oh man, this is just real time processing. So grace in as I say this, but when we isolate, isn't that what the enemy wants?
Yes.
To pull us away and get us alone? Because we're an easier target. I mean, when you watch these National Geographic things, like, who does the predator pick off? It's the poor little guy in the back.
Or any movie.
I will say that
any movie ever. You're like, no, don't go down the dark alley by yourself. Stay with your friends on the lit path. Like, it's so obvious to us. And yet, isolation. It is such a work of the enemy. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, it's so funny when I, honestly, I don't even remember what happened recently. And something happened and I said, well, what if this happened? And Johnny said, well, run. And I said, but I'm not the fastest runner in the group. I'll be the guy in the back.
I'll be the one who slows down the predator so that everybody else can get away because he'll be busy with me.
That would be me.
Yes.
Yeah. Isolation is not what God has for us. And it's in isolation where our thoughts get to rule. There's nobody to speak truth over that. And so really, like, even I'm just challenged right now that when I feel, and I do feel that, like, when things get overwhelming and when I feel like I've just been hurt and I need to process that, my tendency is to pull away and isolate. I will even say, now I'm looking back at, raising a family. And I remember like when things would kind of turn into turmoil, whether it was in the world around us or it was like tragedy happening in our extended family or whatever it is, my nature is to, like, everybody home. I want everybody in the house.
Yeah.
I need my chicks where they belong. And I need to isolate a bit so that we can kind of regroup. And so even with that,
regroup. That's funny.
Did you?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Well, you do know me well.
Right. You know what, though? This is okay. We were created for connection. This is my soapbox. It's 10 o'clock and I'm exhausted and my day is done and I'm going to bed, and you start talking to me about connection, like I'm just going to sit back down. We're going to talk for until 2 a.m. Because this is the thing. Like I'm so passionate about this, that God created us to be connected with him and to be connected with one another. And the thing is, you can isolate by separating yourself physically, by not showing up at church and saying, "Hey, it's cool. Me and my Jesus, that's cool." You can do that. But also, and I know this from experience, you can isolate in broad daylight. You can isolate in a crowded room. You can show up to small group and isolate.
Amen, sister. And I think we all probably have done that at some point. We are all capable of doing that. And it's these walls that go up, this self-protection, this not being willing to open up and share and be a part of the community, for sure. For sure. I will say, being in a small group is such an important thing, because there's people who are looking to see if you're there.
Yeah.
There's people who are paying attention when you're isolating in the space.
Right.
It's real easy to do it in the church service. But when you're a part of a small group, you just might and should be called out on it when it's happening, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think when you think about isolation, separation, you talked about self-protection or self-preservation, right? Those are all the things that separate us. But if God's intention for us is connection, then what are the things that connect us?
Do you mean like common ground?
I'm thinking the things that we can do to be connected to one another. I think that you can't have intimacy. You can't have intimacy without honesty. And so I think like vulnerability, being willing to be known, to be seen, and risking that, I think that's an important part of connection. You have to put yourself out there a little bit and let yourself be known.
Yeah. And I think maybe on the receiving end, we need to be compassionate. We need to extend grace. We need to be willing to speak truth in love. Like, yeah. Right. But we definitely have to be vulnerable, and that's risky.
Yeah. I think when you say, compassionate too, I think that's so connected to my own personal self-awareness, because the less I'm aware of myself, the less compassion I have for you. But when right, but when I know like I need grace, it's so much easier for me to give it. I think anytime, here's a little red flag for you. Anytime you start to feel like there's an us and a them, that should be a little red flag. Okay, what's the us and the them? Like, why is it not just us? Where's the separation in humanity here of, between you and everybody else? It makes me think of the guy who was praying and was like, "Lord, thank you that you didn't make me like that guy over there."
Right?
And it's just the Lord hates pride. It's a red flag for us for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I hear us and them and I immediately think isolation, because I am isolating from anybody else if I'm saying us and them. And so there's an awareness in that. So I would say community in a small group is so important. You need to show up. You need to show up. And sometimes we show up in all the rawness of what is going on in life. And sometimes, we show up because even though we don't want to, but because it's the right thing to do, and we want to be there for other people too. Like, we show up for a lot of different reasons, but we need to show up ready to be a part of community. And so I think, okay, I oversee discipleship at our church, so I'm going to push small groups. I think they're highly valuable. Also, relationship, like just relationships. So, Shawna, you and I connect on a regular basis. The podcast has made that so much easier and more fun. that we get to on a really regular rhythm. But like, and I love like talking on the phone, making sure that we connect. We live in different states. We live so far away, and yet we still can be in community with each other. But in a couple weeks, I'm just going to say that Shawna's going to be here in California in my home.
Yay!
And that is so much fun. The community that will take place, let me tell you, there will be so many conversations. It will be so much fun.
It will be so fun.
I love
and
that.
We'll get to podcast in person too, so that'll be fun to be in the same room
Which we're
together.
Yeah.
Filming the podcast.
Super
That'll be awesome. Yeah.
To do that. Yeah. But I also want to say, like, as Shawna and I are so, we've talked about how important spiritual conversations are, and to have somebody that you really trust and are willing to have those conversations with. And I want to tell a story real quick about something that happened through the podcast. So Shawna and I are very excited about this. But I, a couple of months ago, shared in a podcast that I have a friend that from California who moved to Michigan. And so she's actually not far from where Shawna lives. And I was very sad when she was moving, but also very glad for her. It was the right move for her and her husband. But I just mentioned her for some odd reason. Well, somebody that lived in Shawna's community, because where my friend lived is about 45 minutes away, but somebody who lived in Shawna's community had just moved to that same area near Allegan. And she said, I'm looking for community and I'm looking for someone to connect with. So we, through our email and social media, got to connect these two ladies. And I just found out that they got together, I think, for coffee in the last week or so, and are beginning to build this beautiful friendship. And I was like beside myself excited
awesome.
because not only did we get to connect two people who recently moved to an area and are looking for community and are looking for godly people that can help spur one another on, but one is a friend of Shawna's and one is a friend of mine.
So fun.
So crazy.
Can I tell you, there was one time that I met with this friend of mine, and I think it was the very first time we ever connected. We met at this coffee place and we both showed up with our Bibles and we were like, well, there you go. Like we just showed up for coffee. There was no agenda.
Oh, you weren't planning to meet?
No, we were planning to meet. We were planning to have coffee. But the fact that both of us showed up for coffee with our Bibles, it wasn't because we were going to read scripture or like, we just both showed up with our Bibles and we're like, oh, we vibing big time. Like, this is going to work out just fine. We're going to be friends. And we were, and we are.
I love that. And this sweet friend of mine that got to meet with your friend is one of those people who, in if you only have a few moments to talk with her and you're just meeting in passing, you're going to go deep because it's just who she is. Like, it's just that she's going to get to the heart. She's going to tell you what she's learning. And it's just, it's such a sweet, she's such a sweet lady. So how sweet that these two ladies, and that's the Holy Spirit at work. That's not me and Shawna. Yeah. So I'm just going to name that. We don't take credit. We are so grateful we got to be used in that connection. And that this podcast got to be used in that connection, because community is so very important. And I think these two sweet ladies are going to gain so much by becoming connected. Each other's community.
Hey, I've got a question for you. Okay.
Yes.
When there was a season in time when my husband and we moved to Arizona to plant a new church. And for several months, we went to a different church every Sunday because our church hadn't started yet and we wanted to worship. And I remember this one church that we went to, we got greeted in the parking lot and then we got greeted as we were coming in, and we're seated, and the service is about ready to start. And we're seeing all these people hug each other and everything. And we're like, wow, these people, they are so friendly. And then the service was over and everybody was like excitable and like, hi. And they were all talking with each other. And we're like, oh, they're friendly, but we don't know how to be a friend. Like, we don't know how to enter in. They made us feel very, very welcome, but also they made us feel like, okay, let's go get lunch because they're all having a good time and we don't know how to enter in to what's happening. Does that make sense?
It does 100% make sense. So it's one thing. Okay, here's what I'm hearing. It's one thing to be friendly and greet. It's another thing to open our arms and welcome someone into the community, not just this space.
So I don't know if this happens to you, but this happens to me all the time. I'm not great at like the gathering space time. There are people that just are really, really good at that. That's not my forte. So maybe I'm not the person to learn from, but this is something that is really important to me. If I'm talking to someone and somebody else approaches, I will enter them, bring them into the conversation that I'm already having. And once like 2-3 sentences have been said or whatever, I'll say, do you guys know each other? Oh, Sue, this is Becky. Becky, this is Sue. And then I'll say, oh, Sue goes to my Bible study, and Becky, blah, 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 this is how we know each other, or whatever. Our kids are whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I think that we have opportunities to connect each other to each other through, on a Sunday morning or at whatever, Bible study, small group.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think honestly, if you are looking for a church and you feel like I'm not finding a place, I don't feel like I connected, I think there are certain ways we can try to find connection. I remember when Johnny and I started coming to Emmanuel back in 2005, I think we started going to Emmanuel. Our kids were an easy bridge because people who had kids the same age, like it was almost like this on-ramp of conversation. And so sometimes it might be finding like common ground to be able to enter in. If you're the person on the outside trying to figure out how to enter in, right?
I've got the funniest story. Oh my gosh. This is so funny. Okay. So this is a guy that I interviewed when I did the morning show for Jody and Shawna mornings, which I don't do anymore. But he goes by Dan Mike, and that is not his name. But he went to this new church and he loved it. He loved the worship. He loved the pastor. He loved everything about it. But he's a single guy and he didn't know a soul. And he wanted to meet people. This is great. This just might be your answer right here. So anyway, he made a name tag and he put it on a lanyard. And it said, I don't know if it said Dan or it said Mike. Somehow, I don't even know what his actual name is. I think his name is Mike, but people start calling him Dan. And so now he goes by Dan Mike. Anyway, all that to say, he had a name tag with his name on it. And so people would come up to him and they would be like, oh, hi, Mike, nice to meet you, or whatever. And he'd say, oh, nice to meet you too. And it was just because he had a lanyard with his name on it, people introduced themselves, and most people assumed that he was a part of the church staff. He wasn't trying to be deceptive. He just genuinely wanted to meet people.
But it made him approachable.
And it's how he found community in the church, which I think is absolutely hilarious. I would not do that. This is not everybody's vibe, but I'm telling you, for Dan Mike, it worked like a charm. He actually did get hired and ended up being on staff eventually. And that's why he was on our show, because he was a pastor at this church in the Grand Rapids area, which is just hilarious but that's how he met people.
That is so funny. I love that. I actually was thinking about a story, and I don't know if this is it's definitely taking a turn. So, but the story keeps coming to mind. And so I'm just going to share it. But when Ty studied abroad in Germany for 6 months when he was in college, and I got to move him out there. And so I got to spend a week with him, getting him established in his apartment and things like that. Cause he literally went alone. He was the only person from his school, and he was living in an apartment just off campus. And, so it was a really big move, but, we decided we found an English speaking church. And so when I was there on that Sunday, I'm like, let's get you to this church and let's try it out. I'll go with you the first time. Yeah. And, we walked in and not one person greeted us. We couldn't figure out where to go. Not one person showed us. We clearly looked lost. Nobody was willing to help.
Nobody cared.
Fine. Yep. Nobody cared. Nobody cared that we were lost. So we finally found our way in to the sanctuary, because there was multiple rooms, like big rooms, but we finally found our way in where we belonged. And we sat down and they started the service, and this person got up, and it happened to be the person who was sitting directly in front of us. And we were kind of towards the back, but they got up and they did an announcement, and it was an announcement about an event coming, and how, it was something about community and, just caring for each other, and how important that was, and blah, blah, blah. And then they came back and sat down, and then the host of the service got up and said, now we're going to turn around and greet those around you. And we're like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And so we stand up ready to stick our hands out, and not one person would greet us, not even the person who had just been on stage
and made the announcement.
Made the announcement. Did like literally came and sat in the row in front of us and did not greet us.
And
I
clearly
thought,
you're the new folks.
New people, right?
Yeah.
I could not believe what we were experiencing. I thought, oh, they don't want
Tyler,
us
don't
here.
go here.
Don't go here, Tyler. This is a scary place. Like, yeah, I mean, clearly they didn't want us there, right? And there was no way, like it felt like there was no on-ramp to enter in at all.
Yeah.
The service ended. We went to the restroom. We kind of hung out. Nothing. Not one person spoke to us. And we were trying, like you're trying to make yourself available and stuff.
Trying to get eye contact with people.
But, so as a church staff, I just have to say, like, as I was kind of, you have to process things and all of that. And I thought, I just like my encouragement to that community would be like, if this is so like out of character for you guys to really like, for your people to really draw people in, don't do a greeting time in the middle of your service.
Yeah. Just avoid that.
Just avoid that piece. But anyway, you were going to say something.
It's a good word. No, my daughter lives in the Czech Republic. And when we went to visit her, she was like, okay, you know that friend that you were talking about, Jode, Sarah, that friend that you were talking about that goes real deep, real fast? Okay, that's me. That's me.
Yes.
And my daughter is like, okay, Mom, don't ask personal questions. We're going to go out to dinner with my friend, and I don't want you to ask any personal, like, they don't do that here. That's not the culture. That's rude and it's intrusive. And I was like, oh no, I'm in trouble because I don't do like surface level talk, banter stuff. Like I go right for it. So it was very much a challenge for me, but she said that when she moved there to the Czech Republic, that she found that people are not friendly or were not friendly towards her until you're in. But when you're in, you are so in. Like it's a cultural thing. It's different. And
we have to be aware of that.
But just like there's different cultures, good, bad, and otherwise, there's different cultures around the world. There's different cultures in different churches that you go to as well.
That's true.
But there are ways that we can have personal conversations and get connected. I mean, Sunday morning, the deepest connections are probably not going to happen there, right? Yeah. But if you do, like you said, Jodes, if you step into a small group or, you go to a Bible study in a smaller setting, there's more opportunity there for anything that the church is offering. Man, when you're serving alongside someone, there is no better way to get to know someone than to not be sitting still looking at each other, but actually be side by side, rolling up your sleeves, getting the work done. It builds relationship.
Amen. Even if you're setting out cookies, it is a place to build relationship
or digging
and
a
build
hole,
community.
or landscaping,
Amen.
or whatever the case may be. Like, it's just a great way to build relationship.
It is. Community is so important. We want to encourage you to be in community. God created us for community. We are not meant to do this alone.
How is it that every time we do this, we're like, you know what? If it's a short one, that's okay. If we don't have a lot to say. This is
literally how we start.
Literally every episode, we're like, you know what? It's okay if we don't have a lot. If it's just a short one, that's fine. And then we're like, oh, we need to wrap up. But it's just how it goes. It's just good to be with you. Thank you for spending some time with us here at Real Sisters Real Talk. And we're not going to let you go without reminding you that we serve a real God. And he really loves you.